President Uhuru Kenyatta last week convened Jubilee Parliamentary Group meeting at State House in Nairobi, specifically for Jubilee senators. And during that meeting, President Uhuru Kenyatta shocked Kenyans by removing Kipchumba Murkomen as the majority leader of the Senate. He also shocked Kenyans by removing Susan Kihika as the majority whip at the Senate. These two individuals are key allies of the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. But it didn't end there. Kipchumba Murkomen was replaced by a key ally of Gideon Moi. Gideon Moi is one of the people who are likely to face off with the Deputy President in 2022. Susan Kihika was replaced by Irungu Kangata. So today, Irungu Kangata moved a motion. Now today, Irungu Kangata moved a notice at the Senate to remove Professor Kithure Kindiki as the Deputy Speaker at the Senate. The question is simple. What's really happening in Jubilee Party? As expected, majority of Kenyans, after what happened to Kipchumba Murkomen and Susan Kihika, had expected the president to continue dealing ruthlessly with the allies of the DP, especially at the National Assembly. People had expected Ben Washeli, who is the majority whip, to be removed. People had expected Aden Duale, who is the majority leader at the National Assembly, to be kicked out. And people had expected that even the Deputy Speaker at the National Assembly was going to be kicked out. But today, the president's guy, that's Irungu Kangata, moved a notice to remove Professor Kindiki Kithure. Why is President keen on removing Professor Kithure Kindiki? Because let's go back. In 2011 thereof, 2010-2011, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy were faced with serious charges at the ICC. So one of the lead lawyers for these two gentlemen was Professor Kithure Kindiki. So the cases ended well in favor of the president and his deputy. And by the time the cases were ending, Professor Kithure Kindiki had decided to contest as a senator for Tharaka Nithi. And he exploited that goodwill and he managed to win the seat. And as a matter of fact, even before that, he was part of the team which crafted the Jubilee coalition agreement between Uhuru Kenyatta and the deputy president. So he became the first senator for Tharaka Nithi. He became the first senator for Tharaka Nithi under the new constitution. And immediately he was elected. He was appointed or elected again as the majority leader. And that's how his politics continued to shine. But something was very interesting. And of course, you'd understand why Uhuru and Ruto decided to settle on this man. Probably they were rewarding him. Because amongst the people who wanted to be the majority leader at that time, there was Kireti Murungi, who had been elected as the Meru senator. Then there was the Nyeri senator then, Mutahi Kagwe. But the president personally prevailed upon these two gentlemen to allow Professor Kindiki Kithure to be elected as the majority leader. And when 2017 now came, this guy was elected again as the senator, but something surprising happened. He was not elected as the majority leader. The person who was elected as the majority leader was actually Kipchumba Murkomen. That really shocked me up to now. I don't understand why the DP could not stand with this guy. But the fact is, when this guy was the majority leader, he was the topmost political leader from the larger Mount Kenya region. And many people had actually believed that because he was coming from Meru, he was the suitable candidate to run as the running mate for the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto in 2022. So probably why he was not allowed to again serve as the majority leader is something which I still don't understand. But after losing that, that's how this guy ended up being elected as the deputy speaker at the National Assembly. And today, from all indications, he's going to be removed. Why is President Uhuru Kenyatta so keen on removing Professor Kithure Kindiki? Why is the president so keen? A man who stood with him during ICC, was his personal lawyer. Up to now, I don't understand why this guy, despite being denied the opportunity to be the majority leader, still decided to stick with the DP. Probably that's the reason why the president is going to kick him out. But let us go back. Why is the president punishing Kipchumba Murkomen? And why is he punishing Professor Kithure Kindiki? Sometimes back, President Uhuru Kenyatta decided to form the Nairobi Metropolitan Service. But one of the guys who was opposed to that was Kipchumba Murkomen. So Kipchumba Murkomen went to the floor of the house and really hit this and moved a motion. And after hitting it so hard, just listen briefly.
Mr. Speaker, as we speak at the moment, Senator Sakaja knows that his county has been militarized. It's no longer a civilian government. Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, is a military county. Something that I would never have imagined when we passed the Constitution of Kenya 2010. It's a shock that, Mr. Speaker, active military men who are supposed to operate in barracks and borders of Kenya are running civilian governments, Mr. Speaker. And yet this House is sitting here, ululating and clapping and cheering, Mr. Speaker. I gave a statement here when Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, was taken over. I made a statement here. Newspapers went out and said, I am so-and-so's man. Mr. Speaker, I want to remain consistent. The militarization of a civilian government in a county government, Mr. Speaker, is the worst form of violation and overturn of our Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, I want to warn this House. You might laugh in Nairobi and say you may not agree with the governor, you may not agree with the leadership of Nairobi at the moment. Mr. Speaker, tomorrow when you will be governors and a worse president is in office, all your counties will be militarized, Mr. Speaker, will be taken over by force and militarized. Mr. Speaker, it must be known by the people of Kenya that I, Kipchumba Murkomen, is totally opposed to the manner in which Nairobi is being run by, Mr. Speaker, a military men, and many more being seconded to this county. Mr. Speaker, what the hell is happening in this country?
Now that's Kipchumba Murkomen. And after hitting it so badly, the acting speaker, who was the deputy speaker, Professor Kithure Kindiki, decided to form a committee to investigate why the president did this. So it was going to embarrass the president. So the president had to use other ways, to use the speaker, Ken Lusaka, to thwart that particular move. And from that moment, that's why Kipchumba Murkomen and Professor Kindiki had to go. But why is the president now so keen on cleaning the National Assembly and the Senate? Why is he keen on weakening the deputy president by targeting his allies? Specifically, this speaker. Why would the president then now decide to go for the speaker? And why is he doing this? 3 or 4 reasons. The first reason, in my view, is that the president wants to weaken the grip of the deputy president in both houses. The fact is, the deputy president, after the election or just before the elections, was wise enough. And he realized that he needed to take control of both houses, the National Assembly and the Senate. And at the Senate, the deputy president opted for Kipchumba Murkomen as the majority leader. That is a guy who cannot betray him. At least he was not sure with Professor Kindiki Kithure. That's why he did not appoint him. Then he went for the whip, Susan Kihika. Susan Kihika is tied to the DP very closely because of the husband. The DP helped the husband win some tenders, SGR tenders, and now therefore they are very close. And then he now rewarded Professor Kithure Kindiki as the deputy speaker. So at the Senate or at the National Assembly, there's a very powerful committee of the House called the House Business Committee. That House Business Committee is what can decide to frustrate the president or not. Let us look at the composition of this committee. This committee is composed of the Speaker, the Majority Whip, the Majority Leader, the Minority Whip, and the Minority Leader. And then it also has some other members. I think there are 9 to some number there. Now, from the ones I've counted, 3 were actually pro-deputy president. So it means they can easily influence certain decisions. So they must go. The president must just remove them. And that's why the president is removing them. By removing Kipchumba Murkomen, the president replaced it with Gishu. So, and he also removed Susan Kihika and replaced Kihika with Kangata. So he forgot something. That in this House Business Committee, there's a deputy speaker. So if the speaker is not there, the person who chairs that committee is the deputy speaker. And this is why Professor Kithure Kindiki has to go. He must give way. Professor must give way for an ally of the deputy, an ally of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Because so far, he has proved that he's not loyal to President Uhuru Kenyatta. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think if this will be executed successfully, the president shall have actually sent a very strong signal to the National Assembly. If this will happen, because look, the moment Kipchumba Murkomen was fired, the senators were given the notice to showcase why. The nominated members of parliament are already swearing and singing Hosanna Hosanna in the name of President Uhuru Kenyatta. David Sankok is already leading that. Others are doing the same. The nominated senators, including Omanga, who was looking for Raila Odinga just the other day. So I think it's a warning. So people like Aden Duale was trying to reach out to Raila Odinga frantically. I don't know whether he succeeded in getting him, but I know he couldn't the first time, but he managed to send someone, a governor, to go and meet with Raila Odinga. Washiali, I said here, and this I have evidence, also went to Capitol Hill, and he also tried frantically to meet other ODM leaders at the National Assembly to go and talk to Raila Odinga. So it's a warning, and these guys are already scared. So that's another message. Number 3, which I think is also something which is serious, is that the president is one to test his strength. Who is more powerful? Who has the numbers at the Senate? To remove a deputy speaker is not like to remove the majority leader or the minority whip. That one, the president just goes there. As long as he has absolute majority, it's done. For the deputy speaker, he must get 2/3. Will the president succeed in getting 2/3 to remove Professor Kithure Kindiki at the Senate? But what will happen if we will manage to remove him? If you will manage to get 2/3, it will be a very good signal for the president that at least finally he can say he controls Parliament, the Senate. And yesterday, the DP held a meeting at his residence in Karen. And one of the things they did was to agree that they are not going to interfere with the president. If the president wants to remove them, they are going to remove them. But let us wait and see whether they are going to leave like that, or that's just the information they gave to media. Because after that meeting, 2 comedians, that's the Bahati member of parliament, Ngujiri Kimani, and Oscar Sudi, retracted their earlier statement where they said they were going to frustrate the president at the National Assembly. So the president is actually going to flex his muscles. And number 4, I think it's about the referendum. The referendum is coming. So anybody who is seen as an obstacle to this referendum must give way. Kipchumba Murkomen was a threat, he has given way. Susan Kihika, given way. Kindiki is going to give way. At the National Assembly, unless the other guys are going to take a different path, but they are also going to give way. I think the president has decided that he wants a referendum. Whether it's raining, whether it's shining, the president wants a referendum. So as a matter of fact, these guys are giving way. What I still don't know is whether this referendum is designed in a way that is going to be a parliamentary initiative or a popular initiative. I still don't know. But from the way of look of things, and already that bill has already been published. So anybody who's going to stand on the way of this, and Professor Kithure Kindiki was one of the guys who was standing on the way, they must give way. And lastly, I think it's also about the Mount Kenya politics. Let's face it, I think the president is really disappointed in Professor Kithure Kindiki. Why am I saying so? This guy contested on a Jubilee ticket and he won. The president then made this guy the majority leader. So what this guy did in the second term, he decided not to follow the president. He joined a team which was referred to as the Sky Team. This is the team which started the early campaigns for the deputy president. The president was very clear, do not engage in early campaigns. The DP used this team, the Sky Team. The Sky Team had Moses Kuria, it had Kimani Ichung'wah, it had Kipchumba Murkomen, and it had Professor Kithure Kindiki. There are 4. So these were the guys who were initially used by the DP to traverse the entire country, specifically in Mount Kenya region, to start campaigns for the DP in 2022. The president told them, I don't want these early campaigns. They continued. So the president, I think, feels this guy, I gave him the Senate, made him the majority leader. I was doing that because I wanted him, I wanted to propel him as a future leader or as a successor. But what did he do? By making Professor Kithure Kindiki the majority leader, what the president effectively did at that time was to make this guy the second in command, politically speaking, from the larger Mount Kenya region. Because apart from him, there was the Speaker of the National Assembly, who was also a close ally of the president. Yeah? But now, if you look at the Senate is a hub house. So I think the president is now realized that this guy is not the right guy. He's not following my path. So we must reduce him. So he's being reduced just because of the Mount Kenya politics. I don't know what you think. But in my view, it's time, and I don't think he's likely to survive. And if he will survive, then the president is not going to do anything at the National Assembly. That's my take. Thank you guys for watching. And again, if you are bumping on this video for the first time, just hit the subscribe button so that next time I do a video like this, you get notified. And to the subscribers, I want to continue. Thank you guys, as usual. Enjoy your day.